Do you ever feel like your brain has a million tabs open and you just can't focus? Well, today we're diving into 5 powerful science-backed methods to get that focus back instantly. This is all based on some amazing work by Prashant. Let's jump right in. Okay, to kick things off, let's try a quick test. I'm going to list 7 words. All you have to do is try and remember them all in order. Got it? Okay, the words are apple, train, market, banana, school, camera, and garden. So, what was the word right before garden? Most of you probably got that one right. Camera. Easy enough. But here's the real test. Can you say all 7 of those words, but backwards? Go on, give it a shot. If you found that tricky, you are so not alone. In fact, only about 10% of people can do it. It seems like a simple little test, but you know what? It reveals a massive problem we're all facing. Our ability to focus is weaker than it has ever been. To really get why and what to do about it, let me tell you a quick story. So, picture this. There's this young boy, and he is just completely overwhelmed. I mean, he's failing in school, his friends are calling him a failure, he's at the point where he's just ready to quit everything. His teacher sees this and gives him one last, kinda strange challenge. He says, "Tomorrow, I want you to carry this glass of milk filled right to the very top, all the way to school. But you can't spill a single drop." The next day, the boy starts walking, and his entire world just shrinks to that glass of milk. And guess what? He does it. He gets to school, not a drop spilled. His teacher asks him, "Hey, did your friends bother you on the way?" And the boy says he didn't even see them. He didn't hear them. Why? My focus, he said, was on the milk. Now, the big takeaway here isn't that focus makes your problems magically disappear. It's about directing your energy so intensely on one single thing that everything else, all the other noise, it just fades away. But how in the world do we do that in a world that's literally built to steal our attention? Well, like with any problem, before you can fix it, you've got to understand what's actually going on. So let's look at the science of why our brains get so distracted. Brace yourself for this number. According to the research, the average human attention span has dropped to just 8 seconds. Yeah, that's actually less than a goldfish. And there are 2 main culprits inside our brains responsible for this. First up, we've got something called the dopamine reward system. Think of it like a little slot machine in your brain. Your phone, social media, they're designed to give you constant tiny rewards. A like, a funny 15-second video, ding, ding, ding. Each one gives you a little hit of happy chemical called dopamine, which trains your brain to constantly want more of those quick, easy wins. So, what happens when you try to do something hard, like studying or a big project that doesn't give you an instant reward? Well, your brain gets bored, and it flips into what's called the default mode network, or DMN. This is basically the overthinking state, where your mind just drifts off, worrying about stuff in the past or stressing about the future. Anything but the task right in front of you. Okay, so we know the enemy now. We've got the dopamine system and the DMN working against us. So how do we fight back? Let's get into 4 techniques you can use the second you feel your focus start to drift away. We're going to walk through 4 super simple, but seriously powerful steps to get your focus back on track immediately. We're talking posture, breathing, something called an eye lock, and finally, the 10-minute rule. All right, first one, sit up straight. I know, it sounds way too simple, but the research is wild. Just changing your posture can boost your focus by up to 50%. When you sit straight, you open up your chest, which lets your lungs pull in more oxygen. More oxygen reduces stress hormones and gives your brain the fuel it needs to lock in. Number 2, your breath. This is another game changer. A 2018 study proved what people have known for centuries. Slow breathing calms your mind. So try this. A slow inhale for about 4 seconds, hold it for just a moment, and then a long, slow exhale for 6 seconds. Doing this actually increases what's called your heart rate variability, which is scientifically linked to less stress and much sharper focus. Third, you need to create what's called an eye lock. Basically, you control your environment because your eyes tell your brain where to pay attention. It's that direct. If your phone is in your line of sight, your brain is thinking about your phone. So take 60 seconds, put the phone out of sight, close those extra tabs, tidy your desk. It makes a huge difference. And number 4, this is a brilliant little mind trick, the 10-minute more rule. You know that moment when you're working and you just feel like quitting? You want to check your phone, get up, do anything else? The next time that happens, just tell yourself, okay, just 10 more minutes. That's it.
It's amazing how often that little mental push is all you need to break through that wall and get back in the zone.
So those are your quick fixes, your focus first aid kit. But for that deep, sustained work, the kind that actually moves the needle, you need more than a quick fix. You need a long-term system. And this is where things get really fascinating. It turns out our natural focus ability works in cycles, and it actually mirrors the 90-minute cycles our brains go through when we sleep. You know how you go from light sleep to deep sleep and back again? Well, you can't stay in peak focus for hours and hours on end either. Your brain just isn't wired that way. This curve shows exactly how it works. When you start a task, it takes about 15 minutes for your focus to build up. Then, you hit this sweet spot of peak focus for about 45 minutes. But after that 60-minute mark, it starts to fade, and it fades fast. Trying to push past 90 minutes, most of the time, you're just pretending to be productive. So the secret isn't to fight your brain's natural rhythm, it's to work with it. And that brings us to the 90-20 rule. You work in an intense, completely focused block for 90 minutes, no distractions. And then, this is the most important part, you take a real 20-minute break. Get up, walk around, do something totally different. Let your brain actually recharge before you dive into the next cycle. So there you have it. We've gone through the story of the boy and the milk, we've looked at the science of why we get distracted, and we've covered 5 powerful techniques, 4 for a quick boost and 1 for the long haul. But knowing all this is one thing. The most important part is putting it into action. So I want you to really think about it right now. Which one of these are you going to try first? Are you going to sit up a little straighter at your desk today? Maybe try that 4-6 breathing exercise tonight? Or are you going to go ahead and schedule your very first 90-minute focus block for tomorrow? The power to change this is in your hands. The first step is all yours.